For a long time, the party of Jacob Zuma, the MK party, had been making inroads into the ANC's voter base. At this point, it has become so strong that they may very well overtake the ANC to become South Africa's largest party after the next general election, and maybe even govern this country in the future if trends hold. And with the ANC hemorrhaging voters and the EFF becoming increasingly irrelevant by the day, it looks like the MK party will soon be home to South Africa's majority black voter base. Now this party, the MKP, is becoming even more radical than the EFF ever was. They are openly arguing that South Africa's constitution as a whole needs to be abolished because, and I quote, it's too Western, too Christian, and therefore too un-African. From a major political party fundamentally represented in our own parliament, an attack is being launched on the very civilizational foundations upon which South Africa's legal order has always been built, even long before South Africa existed. And if they were to succeed in their agenda aimed at restructuring the South African state itself, this may spell the end of everything from even the most basic property rights to the very notion of individual liberty. Jacob Zuma, South Africa's former president and the de facto leader of South Africa's fastest growing political party, Umkhonto weSizwe, has completely restructured his party ahead of this year's municipal election. He disbanded the current command structure completely and established a centralized so-called MK Party Institute, which will henceforth exercise sole discretion when it comes to the party's ideological, strategic and organizational agenda. According to Mr. Zuma, this overhaul of the party structure was the result of an 18-month study which highlighted the necessity of this restructuring. One of the key reasons Zuma highlighted for the need for this overhaul was to launch his plan to take complete control of the country by the next general election in 2029. But this plan includes by far the most revolutionary notion ever to be openly presented in the history of South Africa's politics. Doing away with the constitution and even abolishing the very legal principles and structure underlying the constitution itself, the Roman Dutch law. Stay tuned because what I am about to uncover should make your hair raise. It is actually quite profound. The MK party recently made headlines with several proposals aimed at amending or changing the South African constitution. Perhaps the most notable proposal being doing away with Section 235, which guarantees the nations and people groups in South Africa the right to self-determination for every nation. Although this section has never been fully operational through national legislation, it has long been cited in debates surrounding the rights of communities such as Orania and Kleinfontein and even the Cape independence movements. Last month, the MK party formally introduced a bill aiming at repealing the entire Section 235 entirely. The party argued that the clause creates confusion, contradictions and ambiguity, and claimed it has increasingly been used to justify what it condemns as racially exclusive enclaves, of course referring to such places as Kleinfontein and Orania. But its most radical bill so far is undoubtedly the one it plans to introduce this month, which will amend Section 25 of the South African Constitution, which of course governs property rights. This proposed so-called Land Expropriation Amendment Bill will effectively abolish private property rights in South Africa from the Constitution by nationalizing all land and property in the entire country. Yet, with the latest overhaul by Zuma, the party has gone even one step further and is now calling for the constitution itself to be completely abolished and rewritten altogether in a more African way, to use his words. In a statement released over the past weekend, Zuma claims that conventional party politics across the world is increasingly becoming weak and untrustworthy, and that it is time for a new course. He further notes that the party has decided to reform itself to better align with the ideals of Pan-Africanism, the Black Consciousness movement, as well as Afrocentrism. Zuma then proceeds to make one of the most revolutionary statements ever recorded in the history of South Africa's politics, and he noted, "The MK party," and I quote, "believes that South Africa requires a new constitutional conversation rooted in the aspirations, history, traditions, values, and indigenous consciousness of the African people. The liberation of the African people, or our people as he puts it, cannot continue to be governed solely through the current constitution, which was inherited by Roman, Dutch, and English legal traditions that do not fully reflect the civilizational realities and aspirations of the African black majority. Leaders of the MK party therefore call for a constitutional order grounded in justice, dignity, and Africanism." The MK party now argues that South Africa's legal system, including our current 1996 constitution, is something that needs to be rejected by the African people as un-African, imposed through Dutch colonialism and British imperialism, because Roman Dutch law entered South Africa through the Dutch East India Company at the Cape in the 17th century, and was later blended with English common law influences under British imperial rule. According to Zuma's MK party, Nelson Mandela and the ANC failed to fully liberate the African man because they implemented a constitution that still maintains the legal principles inherited from Western Christendom. What the MK instead proposes is an Afrocentric constitution in which ideas as private property rights, the right to life, the right to a fair trial, equality before the law, the principle that government itself is subject to the rule of law, parental rights over their own children, the idea of liberty and freedom of association are completely done away with in exchange for something that's not Christian and white and Western, but as he puts it, African. All of these rights and the liberties were, after all, introduced to this part of the world with the arrival of Christianity, which Zuma himself, while still serving as president, openly blamed exclusively for all of this country's problems, saying all Africans must reject Christianity, and therefore this rejection of Western values and the constitution that has these Western values should be rejected as well because of the Christian influence that was that led to these systems such as the Roman Dutch legal system. The hard reality is that once you reject the constitutional and legal traditions inherited from Roman Dutch law or English common law for that matter, and the broader Christian legal civilization that shaped the West and Europe, you're inevitably calling into question the origins of many of the most basic legal protections that ordinary South Africans today enjoy but simply take for granted. Protections such as equality before the law, independence of the judiciary, due process, private property rights, contractual freedom, protections against arbitrary state power, and the idea that government itself remains subject to the law rather than standing above it. Textus Rex instead of Rextus Tex. All of this makes the new political plan proposed by the MK party by far the most radical agenda ever proposed in the history of South African politics and, quite frankly, African politics in general, because none of the African countries that were liberated or decolonized or whatever you want to call it ever done away completely with Western legal systems. Every single country in Africa is still run by a Western legal system and even a Western political system. All political systems that these countries and the parties governing them adhere to were in fact thought out and shaped and even invented in the West or in Europe or in the Western world. Even the ideology that Zuma himself holds, which is Marxism, is also fundamentally coming from the West and not from Africa itself. although his party had put an African spin on it by calling it Africanism or Afro-Marxism or Pan-Africanism, as he put it in his own writings. At its deepest level, the issue here pertains to the heart of the battle between liberty, which had been the soul of the Western political thought for many centuries now, and tyranny. Because what the MK ultimately envisions with these plans for 2029 is an African dictatorship where the idea of the rule of the law is completely abolished. And the scariest part of all of this is that if current trends continue, the MK party has a very real chance of actually winning the next general election scheduled to be held in 2029. You see, the ANC and its daughter parties, if you want to call it that, has never really lost any votes. If you count the amount of votes that the MK party, the EFF and the ANC together had received in the last general election, and you look at the amount of votes the ANC had, or the percentage of votes the ANC had when they started taking power in South Africa, that number stays exactly the same. The only difference is that now the ANC or Afro-Marxist vote share, or you can even call it the black majority vote share, is split up between these three parties. But the MK party, if trends continue, may very well be able to reconsolidate this black majority voting bloc behind them as a party, because black people or black voters have shown that they are not willing to vote for a party such as the Democratic Alliance, who never received more than 4% of the black vote in this country. Black voters are increasingly getting fed up with the ANC, and they are looking for something different, something promising a better life for them, quite frankly. And the MK party is positioning itself to be that vessel, to be that hope for the black majority vote in this country, and they are quite successful at it, getting millions of votes away from the ANC. The party grew into the third largest party in the country after having been founded just mere months before the last 2024 general election. And according to a poll published 3 weeks ago, Jacob Zuma is the single political leader in South Africa inspiring the highest level of trust among voters, putting Zuma on course to continue to grow his party even further in the immediate future. Jacob Zuma is also the most popular politician in South Africa by a very, very long shot. One of the main reasons for the tremendous growth in popularity of the MK party is its stance on immigration, an issue on which it at least somewhat diverges from the positions of both the ANC and the EFF, who are both pro-African immigration. This is something we highlighted on this channel in a recent video, which you can click by viewing on this link appearing on your screen right now. And there you can see why the MK party is smart in their stance to not endorse immigration from other African countries, because the populist position in South Africa currently is heavily anti-immigration, thus positioning Zuma or Jacob Zuma's party as the only party buying into this popular sentiment. So click on this link if you want to watch that video. It was a very interesting analysis and study. And please consider supporting the work we are doing here on this channel and at the Willem Petsche Group in general by becoming a paying member. Invest in us by simply following the easy steps on the banner below. With your investment, we can continue growing and making videos like these every day that really do make a difference in South Africa. Goodbye and God bless.